Hello students, this is Mr. Bauer again, and I'm about to go over lesson 1-6 with you. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, students, we're going to be doing lesson 1-6, which is multiplying and dividing real numbers. Okay, now first I want you to go over this rule and I'd like you to learn it. If the signs are the same, the answer is positive. If the signs are different, the answer is negative. Let me say that again. If the signs are the same, meaning like they're both positive or they're both negative, then the answer is positive. Even if they're both negative, the answer is positive. If the signs are different, then the answer is negative. Now, in addition to that rule, I just want to make a little statement here. Do the work as if the numbers were both positive. Let me say why. Okay, I just added that onto there. Do the work as if the numbers were both positive. Basically, when you multiply or divide, just multiply or divide as normal. However, like you have learned, obviously not just calculator, but hopefully that you have memorized some math facts for multiplication and division. Okay, so for example, 4 times 8 equals 32, and negative 4 times negative 8 is equal to 32 as well, positive 32. Okay, so in this case, the signs are the same. You may want to note that when I put the parentheses around the 4 and the 8 here that are negative, I did that so that you could clearly see the negative sign and not get it mixed up with an operation. Okay, but you notice I didn't write a time symbol in between them. The reason why is in algebra, anything in parentheses next to anything else in parentheses is considered multiplication. So if there's nothing in between them, then these two numbers are being multiplied, okay? So whether it's like, let me say it this way too. It could be one number, it could be multiple numbers and operations. It could be a full expression inside of parentheses. If there's another number on the outside of it, in parentheses, or just touching the outside of the parentheses, then it automatically means times. Okay? Now let's look at what do we have when the situation is different. So I have negative 4 next to positive 8. Now remember, the parentheses implies time, so I don't have to write the time symbol between it. So negative 4 times 8 is negative 32. 4 times negative 8. And this time I just put the time symbol, but I wouldn't have to. I could just block it out to say 4. Parentheses negative 8 means the same thing. But it's still negative 32. So in this case, it doesn't matter. Like, remember with addition and subtraction, it really mattered like which number was negative and which one was positive, which one has a greater absolute value. None of that is even purposeful in multiplication and division. Multiplication and division is super simple in comparison to addition and subtraction when you're talking about real numbers. Now, I just want to clarify something. Normally in a lesson like this, we would call this a lesson on integers. Now, when we say integers, we usually mean positive and negative numbers, okay? But I want to remind you that to be an integer, it has to be positive or negative, but it has to be whole in either case. If it is not whole, even if it is negative, like for example, the fraction negative 1/2 or negative 3/4 or negative 2.7, okay? If there is a fraction or a decimal and it's negative, it's not considered an integer. Not because of the negativeness, it's not considered an integer because it's not a whole number, okay? So just like I said before, listen to the hint, multiply or divide like normal with the sign on at the end. So in other words, I see 4 and 8 is 32, okay? Since one of them is negative, I put the negative sign on. But in this case, I have negative 4 and negative 8. Since the signs are the same, then I put a positive sign, or I leave no sign, which indicates automatically that it's positive. Okay? Sometimes with a problem with a lot of negative and positive integers, it's good to put the plus sign in the answer, but it's not necessary. If an answer is positive, it can be written as positive 32 or just as 32. Okay, any questions? Feel free to email. Now, let's take a look at a division problem. Okay, trying to get this to a higher spot on the page. Hold on just a second. There we go. That should be pretty easy to see. Okay. In the steps of long division, treat the partial answer like positive numbers. Okay. So in a long division problem, I say how many times does negative 5 go into the first 5? It goes in negative 1 times. Okay. Or it goes in 1 time. 1 times 5 is 5. I wrote the 5 down there. Now, what I don't want you to do is say minus negative 5. I mean, in this case, it actually would come up positive 5. But if you put a negative number down here and start applying the rules of subtraction to negatives, you're going to get it wrong. So basically what I'm getting at is just ignore the signs until you get to the answer. Then when you get to the answer, look at the problem again. That's positive. That's negative. The rule says if the signs are different, the answer is negative. So let me just go ahead and do the problem again just so you can see my steps here. Okay, negative 5 fits into 5 one time. 1 times 5 is 5. I'm ignoring the negative sign for now, but I am subtracting. That's another thing. Don't get confused with subtraction and negative. 5 minus 5 is 0. Bring down the next 5. 5 fits into 5 one more time. 1 times 5 is 5. 5 minus 5 is 0. So my problem is canceled, meaning that it's done. That's all I mean when we say it's canceled. So in this case, I have a negative number and a positive number. So the rules say the signs are different, then the answer is negative. Okay? You can just ignore that. That was just a note to myself. Now at the bottom of the page here. Okay, any questions? Feel free to email me. And thank you very much.